Hey y'all, today I want to talk to you about how you can beat Gna in about 10 to 11 seconds. So first things first, let's take a look at the build. Alright, so I'm going to start actually with the skills. Now, really, the only one that truly matters here is this one, the Pride of the Frost. The combo that ends with R2. We want this to be momentum. And that's because at the end of the first combo we do against Gna, this is going to allow Kratos' permafrost meter to charge all the way up when used in tandem with the axe pommel I'll show you in a second. And that's very important. Jumping over now to the axe pommel, you want to use the Stonecutter's knob. This one has a hidden perk at the end of the R2, at the end of a full combo ending in R2. I made a video on this, I'll link it in the description, but basically it does a ton of additional damage. It increases your permafrost greatly, and it does a lot of extra stun as well, so this is important. Now, for the blades and the spear, these don't matter as much, as well as the shield. I went with ones that increased strength and had perks that supported the different enchantments I use. So you'll notice this one has vitality, this one has vitality and luck, and then for shield we went for one that offered strength as well. The Stonewall shield also offers vitality. This will be important in a second also. Now for the relic, you'll need this to start, and I'll talk about where that's important, but really where you're fighting Gna, you're going to be using the Talisman of Maine. Alright, so let's look at the armor here. You're going to want the Berserker chest. This, coupled with the Talisman of Maine, allows you to do a ton of damage. So this is really where a lot of the damage is going to come from. Additionally, you want to use Lunda's bracers and her belt to get a 40% damage increase against poison enemies. We're actually going to be using Freya's runic summon, the Satyr Exhale, which does poison damage to the enemy. So this will cover Gna and poison, which will benefit the aforementioned wrist and waist armor being Lunda's. Then with the amulets here, we can talk about these. So first, Vanaheim's Fortune. This is going to give Kratos additional damage on status afflicted enemies. Gna is essentially going to be status afflicted the entire fight, either via Freya's arrows, by her runic attack and the poison, or through frost from Kratos' axe. So this is going to be a buff for the entire fight. And you can see here that this stat is predicated on luck, which is why some of the other gear has luck-based stats attributed to it, because that'll make this perk more effective. Next is the Helheim enchantment set. This is going to greatly increase Kratos' melee damage when your health is below 50%. I'll show you how to achieve that going into this fight, since it can be tricky to do within Muspelheim. But this one also predicated on the vitality stat. So I have some gear, of course, like the Stonewall shield and some of the pommels, providing a buff to the vitality stat to make this more effective. This enchantment works better than the Niflheim one in that it actually provides a greater damage buff. And then lastly, Muspelheim Force. Same idea here. This one is predicated on runic, so where you can get runic stats, you want that. This is going to increase your damage not only when permafrost is full, but when you activate it with the L1 triangle to cause the, I forget exactly what it's called, but it gives your axe the additional ice beams that shoot out of it, makes you much stronger. So it'll buff both when your permafrost is full and when you activate that as well. All right. So now that we went over the gear specifically, in order to reduce your health, you want to use, once again, the hilt of Tyrfing, I guess it's called. And you want to do this near Lunda here. This way, once we get to Gna, we can make a save, and we can make sure that you can reload that save with Kratos' health below 50%. Now, the last thing I'll point out, which I forgot to mention earlier, are Freya's enchantments here, the accessories. So we're using Sigil Punishment, melee damage against status afflicted enemies dealt with hex deal increased damage. We're going to be shooting arrows pretty much the entire time, so this will help Kratos out, do more damage. Every third runic arrow fires an additional 3 arrows. This is going to help get the hex on Gna rather quickly, plus the additional bonus damage from the attack. And then lastly here, all damage dealt is significantly increased while runic arrows are fully depleted. Because we're going to be mashing square essentially the whole time, Freya should almost be fully empty the entire fight when it comes to her arrow. So this is also a damage buff. Alright, let's go pick it up now with Gna. Alright. So now that we lowered our health by Lunda, we're here at Gna. Make sure that you equip, at this point, the Talisman of Maine. Now, I'm going to talk through the basic approach here. First thing you want to do is charge up your axe.
In the depths of Helheim for this cowardice!
Oh, jeez. You want to charge up your axe. Immediately after, you want to activate the relic, which will activate the Berserker chest perk as well. So you'll have the strength buff as well as the Berserker buff. You want to be fairly close to Gna as well, about this far away. And once you've activated, you powered up the sword, you've activated the relic, you want to start running in at her. As soon as she starts to move, you want to unload all... Rude. You want to unload all of Freya's arrows, so all 4 shots. As soon as her arrows are depleted, you want to hold down square for her runic attack to come off, and immediately following that, you just want to keep hitting square for essentially the rest of the fight. So whenever Freya has an arrow, she's going to fire it. Now, as far as Kratos' moves, you want to do basic combos.
I know the hate burns in you too.
You want to do R1, 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 R2 initially. After that combo, your permafrost gauge should be fully activated. So after the first one, and you want to press L1 and triangle to activate, I forget the perk's name, but the super axe power. After that, it's additional R2, R2, R1, R2 combo, and then lastly R1, 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 R2. Now, a lot of this is luck-based. Gna can go in different directions. She might escape the combo. She might do attacks that just resist the attacks you're doing in the stagger. So that's why it's important to make a save when your health is this low, right here. You want to go ahead and save the game. And you can see this is giving me God of War, of course. So make sure that after the encounter, you can load that save. Because if you just do a restart, your health is going to be filled all the way back up, which will eliminate the Helheim perk. So I'll do this once or twice just to show you. Chances are I'm not going to be able to take her down that quickly, just in a few goes. It took me probably like 100 tries to get her in 10 seconds for everything to line up perfectly. But this is essentially the idea.
Good. You pay for what you've done. Asgard's blood is on you. Asgard's blood is on us.
Alright, not bad. Definitely not 10 seconds, but you get the idea. So, once again, the axe pommel's the most important piece here, coupled with Freya's runic summon and the Berserker chest, Lunda bracers, the specific enchantments I called out. Make sure that once again you have momentum for the Pride of the Frost 1 there. And of course, like I mentioned, this is Give Me God of War. Alright, hope you enjoyed that. I will catch you all next time.
Let's settle this.
Lastly, this is the world record clip itself. I'll link everything in the description. Remember to like and subscribe.
Good. I'll see you pay for what you've done.